What's going on, guys? Brian Jack, Simpleman's Comics, and you know what time it is. We are at the end of the week, so of course that means it is time for last call. But last call for us, what are we talking about? That's right, we're talking about our picks for comics that are heading final order cutoff this coming Monday night. Earlier, if you're DC Comics, always got to put that caveat in there. But these books are hitting final order cutoff this Monday. Like we always say, best time to get those pre-orders in, get that discount, secure your copy so you don't have to be running to your LCS on that Wednesday on release day, right, Jack?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. This is definitely the most important show that we have on the channel. It definitely serves the most purposes within the hobby and within the community. We're trying to let you guys know in advance. You can get those orders locked in. You can save the most money, but also so you can help out your LCS, allow them to predict their orders, and again, help out these, especially these small press publishers when we talk about our indie showcase presented by Black Cape Comics.
Right, just like this show and just like the rest of our shows, these shows are available as an audio podcast as well. Wherever your audio podcasts are found, just look for that Simpleman's Comics podcast. But we're going to get into our first pick for Final Order Cutoff, and we are talking about Avengers number 41. This continues with that Phoenix story arc, right?
That's right. We just talked about this on the Bolo show with Avengers 39 making kind of a rare appearance within this run on the Bolo show. And now I think because of that, it's really relevant that we talk about this. Now, of course, there's issue 40 that's going to come out between 39 and 41. It's past FOC, but Avengers not being in like crazy demand, I think you can probably still pick it up, but you're going to want to move quick on that one. But definitely want to let you know about 41. Cover looks amazing. I think that's Black Panther on the cover there, getting that kind of full Phoenix force. This again is the Jason Aaron story that Marvel is hyping as a real transformative story within the Marvel universe. You don't know if that's just sales hype, but it's definitely something that we want to make sure that you guys are on the lookout for, because I know a lot of people may be sleeping on this Jason Aaron Avengers run.
Here we got a brand new 6-issue miniseries from Marvel, and we got Iron Fist, Heart of the Dragon number 1. I also kind of understand why I think Jack has this on the list, not only because of Iron Fist, but it is written by that great G.I. Joe author as well, right?
That's right. This is a Larry Hama story, which is without a doubt why this one is on my radar. Larry Hama is really the man. He never gets quite the credit for creating the modern day G.I. Joe. Certainly it was an action figure toy line.
He didn't even want to.
Right, but he's the one who gave him voice and backstory, and everything that we know about G.I. Joe comes from Larry Hama. If you've ever gotten the pleasure of meeting him at a comic convention, one of the nicest creators too that you'll ever get a chance to meet, and extremely humble, because he's real quick to tell you G.I. Joe wasn't his cup of tea. It wasn't the thing that he wanted to jump on immediately, but it ended up really making him within the industry. And it's kind of cool to see him at this stage in his career getting to do this Marvel story, especially Iron Fist. I think is really going to fit into he's at his best, in my opinion, when he's reading G.I. Joe comics, when he's getting into that Snake Eyes, Storm Shadow, Kamakura, Throwdown, Sean Collins, Dawn Moreno, the whole Snake Eyes lore. That's when he's at his best. I think that's going to play well into this series. Also, I feel like the solicit's kind of cool because we're really used to Something's Killing the Children. In this one, you've got Something's Killing the Dragons, and Iron Fist has to figure it out. So I'm kind of on board for this. It's been a long time since we've had an Iron Fist series that anybody really cared for. I don't expect this one to have, say, secondary market success, but I hope that, this is one I think is going to go under the radar. A lot of people aren't even going to really realize it's releasing. So I hope by us talking about it here, at least people will be aware of its release.
Yeah, especially the Iron Fist purists, because there's been some great Iron Fist runs. Not so much on the Netflix media side, but comic side, there's been some great ones. Seems like every week, every final cutoff, we're talking about some sort of Star Wars title, and here we are talking Dr. Aphra with number 7. We got cover art by Sway, but we also got that 1 in 25 incentive by another great artist, right?
That's right. I think it's that incentive is the reason that we really need to highlight this book. That incentive comes from none other than Jenny Frison, who, of course, has been killing it on DC Cover Bs as well as Marvel Cover Bs and Marvel Incentives. But we got to look at what number 6 did. Number 6 now had that 1 in 25 Jen Bartel variant. Jen Bartel is kind of a similar popularity level, albeit I'll say a little less exposed than Frizzen is, but nonetheless, extremely popular cover artist doing a 125 right after a book caught absolute fire. I would not be surprised to see that kind of like residual heat that we talk about a lot on the channel, where speculators tend to try to find patterns. So if they made great profit on 6, they're more likely to buy 7. If they missed out on great profit on 6, they're more likely to jump in on 7. In either way, you can see success there. So this is something to be on the lookout for and pay attention to.
Yeah, and I would pay attention to that trend that you were just talking about also, because that's a double-edged sword, right? There's some comic shops out there that know that Jim Bartel did well, so they might try to raise the price on that Frizzen one, but shop around for it. Make sure you guys get that discount. And don't wait, because if you're waiting before the week before, when it hits all the websites and people start looking at it, it's definitely going to end up selling out. I can see it going that way, so that's why we're talking about it for final order cutoff, to get those orders in before the before sales. Fuck it. So get those orders in now. So here's something that we talked about last week during Final Order Cutoff, but they're spreading into this week as well. And we're talking about this Marvel vs. Alien variants.
Yeah, they kicked off last week, but really hammering hard right now. On top of it, a lot of people are kind of just now kind of turning their attention towards the Aliens property, as it was announced this week, the brand new Alien series launching from Marvel Comics. We now know the creative team. We've seen the cover art, and that's the kind of thing that's going to build momentum. Plus, this week, it's also worth noting, because we know people are always paying attention to those Peach Momoko covers, that there is a Black Cat number 2 Aliens Peach Momoko variant. But I actually think a lot of these covers are very desirable. A lot of Marvel artists have been waiting a long time to get their hands on this type of character and this type of story. So these books are going to be ones to pay attention to. I think a lot of people are going to collect them and put the set together.
Here's another one that we started talking about last week's Final Order Cutoff, but we got more of those Future States books coming out this Final Order Cutoff as well. We got like the next Batman number 2. We got Immortal Wonder Woman number 1, but there's also some others, right?
That's right. You can't leave out books like Shazam number 1 or Nightwing number 1. And albeit these are books that are going to be a little bit more overlooked. Certainly that first appearance of Yara Flores and the next Batman number 1 are the ones that got a lot of attention. But today, everybody's been talking about next Batman 2 with that cover B cover art reveal showing Timothy Fox as the next Batman. Timothy Fox, of course, is the eldest son of Lucius Fox. And he first appeared in Batman 313, really swerving everybody who thought the younger brother, Luke Fox, was going to be the one who would end up taking the mantle as the next Batman. So a lot of added attention on that cover. I could see that end up playing out well, as well as Immortal Wonder Woman, a book you mentioned, Brian, featuring a Peach Momoko cover B, which is important to note because she's soon to start her Marvel exclusivity. So that'll be one of the last DC books you're going to get to see. And then, as we mentioned, Shazam and Nightwing, 2 books that are coming with probably a lower print run than some of the other Future State books. So those are ones to be on the lookout for. I know a lot of people are excited about Future State as a program, and we just want to let everybody know, again, these books are going to be hitting final order cutoff. This is where it seems like the entire attention of DC Publishing seems to be on these Future State books, as these Future State creative teams seem to be taking over the main continuity stories as well. And we're starting to see the characters from Future State show up in these books. So really, it's added a lot of importance on this program as a whole.
Yeah, and it's great. It's also important to point out that these are new characters. They aren't exactly replacing the characters that we know. We see some people, some comments. People aren't liking that they're going to replace Batman. Batman's not going anywhere, but we're getting a new Batman as well. So I think more the merrier, just in time for a Merry Christmas. Actually, these books will be coming out after Christmas, but it's still very merry. And with that being said, guys, it's time to shift gears into the indie showcase portion of Final Order Cutoff. Of course, this is brought to you by Black Cape Comics at blackcapecomics.com. Always tell you the books that we talk about on the show, you can pre-order from them, get that 15% discount at blackcapecomics.com. But the first one we talk about in the Indie Showcase is a freaking banger, and we are talking about Image Comics with Haha number 1.
Yes, do not sleep on this release. This would quite easily be my pick of the week, looking at this entire list. It may be a slow burner because definitely people are going to be on top of it, but Ice Cream Man was very much like that. Now, if you're wondering why I'm referencing that, in case you're not aware, this is a spin-off series from the Ice Cream Man line, and there's been a lot of anticipation. Of course, clowns were depicted on covers of the Ice Cream Man series that have tended to do pretty well, and it was kind of seen as the inspiration for this series. There's been a lot of buzz surrounding this upcoming series, and I really, really think that the heat that's on Ice Cream Man right now and the way that it's kind of like growing in popularity with each release each month, in the 20s now, and kind of getting it's kind of at its peak point, and right the perfect time to spin off into this series. Brand new number 1. So if you felt like Ice Cream Man had gotten past you and you didn't want to spend the type of back issue money to go back and start off, but you enjoying the current issues of this horror anthology series, this is another great series to be free to check out. Definitely be on the lookout for that, as well as there's a lot of great exclusives out there for this book as well,
including one from this show's sponsor. Black Cape Comics has a fantastic exclusive variant up there, so go check them out at blackcapecomics.com while you're pre-ordering all the books for this final cutoff. But the next one we'll talk about in the Indie Showcase, as I got a nose itch, is Boom Studios, and we get that Abbott 1973 number 1. A lot of people like the first part arc of Abbott. Here we got it coming back again.
Yeah, and not only that, a lot, and I mean a lot of Hollywood buzz surrounding Abbott. So this was one of those slept-on Boom properties. Now we've got this kind of Boom renaissance going on, and it's a great time to release this second volume. Another thing that's important about this is there is another Frizzen 1 in 25 variant that we got to make you guys aware of, and it has a very kind of excellent vintage look that really is kind of different from the typical Frizzen. Has that kind of worn look. So I really like the 1 in 25. I think this book will be under ordered. I could see that book performing very well.
Right. Now, the one we talk about, this one's from Aftershock Comics and friends of our channel, Comic Core. Great friends of this author, David Pepos. But we got Scouts Honor number 1. And this is one where it takes place after a nuclear apocalypse, and an old Ranger Scout manual is the new Bible.
Yeah. So again, big release from Aftershock Comics. David Pepos is a major up-and-coming writer in comics. As you mentioned, friend of the Comic Core channel, nice guy we've worked with before.
Then the last one we'll talk about this evening in the Indie Showcase is one from Humanoids Inc., and we're talking about Space Bastards number 1. This has a great storyline to it and some great covers, right?
Yeah, that's right. Now, of course, a catchy title with Space Bastards. You know we love Southern Bastards here on this channel. So now we're getting Bastards in space. On top of it, Humanoids has been a publisher that we had a lot of high hopes for with their kind of relaunch, and then it kind of stalled out the gates. So I'm excited for a new number 1 from Humanoids. And then you mentioned covers. There's a 1 in 10 incentive for this one that has kind of like that glow-in-the-dark black light feel. And that kind of look and aesthetic popularized in like the 60s and 70s has really come back into focus recently. We've seen those Marvel Funko Pops with that throwback to those black light posters that I believe released in the 70s. And then beyond that, we've started to see an increase in kind of different black light related products within the collectible space. So seeing that transition into variant covers, I'm not surprised. Could this be the next negative space style of variant? We'll see. But I think this is a great and creative play coming from an independent comic publisher.
Yeah, and it's great because we always talk about low risk stuff, right? If you order pre-FOC, you get that discount.
Absolutely.
And you never know. You might get a great story, but you also might get a great collectible. So either way, that's why we have it for Indie Showcase Spotlight. And that's going to wrap up that Indie Showcase Spotlight. But we always close this show out with some additional printings that are heading final or cutoff. One that we got a lot of comments on for last week saying, hey, what about this? Well, guess what? It's FOC on this week.
Yes, and it's part of the reason why we talked about it during our 6 Up episode this week, why I said I was kind of down on this book in general, because a 2-week FOC window on a second print is abnormal. So I understand why you guys were expecting to see it last week and didn't, and it was probably the most common comment on last week's video. But this week we have Daredevil 25, the second print featuring the cover art with Elektra as Daredevil, as well as the 1 in 25 design variant incentive. Also coming this week, we have Once in Future number 10, the second print from Boom Studios. Symbiote Spider-Man King in Black number 1 coming with a second print. And then from Image Comics, they're getting you caught up. We've got a little bit of a 3-issue catch-up release all at once, which I am a big fan of. Department of Truth number 1 getting a third print. Department of Truth number 2 getting a second print. And Department of Truth number 3 getting a second print.
So there it is, guys. There's the additional printings. But if you see stuff on this list that hey, this FOC is not for me, maybe you're a store exclusive variant guy, make sure you check out our channel sponsors, blackcapecomics.com, frankiescomics.com, the 616comics.com. But there's also a new one out there with the Lookout Comics, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. We've heard from you guys about wanting something retail, and I'm working on it. I've been working on it. So please check out the lookoutcomics.com, brand new retail site from yours truly, Mr. Bolo himself. And I'm going to be adding a lot of back issues. We're going to add all of our Simpleman's Comics exclusives are on the site. And in 2021, we'll be adding new comics on there. So stay tuned for more. Be sure to check out and sign up for that newsletter.
With that being said, guys, this is Brian Jack with Simpleman's Comics. We'll see you guys in the next video.